Introducing Panado Pediatric Syrup 5ml sachets. They're really convenient to pack and easy to use, so you're always prepared for pain and fever, anytime, anywhere.
Welcome back. Now, being prepared to assist your family all year round is why they think of you as their hero. And with the symptoms of seasonal hay fever on the loose, we need to unpack how we can help them with GP Dr. Michelle Merrington. Please speak to us about sinus. What exactly is it?
So I think sinus is a bit of a layman's term for what in medical terms we call allergic rhinitis.
Allergic rhinitis.
Allergic rhinitis,
okay.
or hay fever, another common term.
Yes.
Yeah. Allergic rhinitis essentially alludes to symptoms that include sneezing, an itchy nose, a runny nose, that watery runny nose that you just can't get on top of, sometimes even itchy eyes and teary eyes. And depending on how bad your symptoms are, you can end up with fever.
Yes.
But yeah, essentially it's that kind of cluster of symptoms at a particular time of the year.
Okay, so I was going to ask you, because you mentioned hay fever and all those symptoms, which kind of happens now.
Around about now.
Exactly.
Spring
because
has
we've
sprung.
Exactly, spring has sprung. What are the symptoms that people are facing at the moment in terms of sinus?
So this is probably what they're coming in with most frequently at the moment is the sneezing and the itchy nose. Oftentimes even a cough, and the cough is more with allergies related to post-nasal drip, which causes that irritating kind of coughing spells, which you've probably heard many people speak of.
Yes.
It's incessant, absolutely. The itchy eyes, and then the runny nose. And many times they think they're sick, but yeah, it's not always related to illness. Sometimes it's just really poorly managed allergies.
And how do we manage it? Speak to me about what's called the power of paracetamol.
Oh my goodness, here we go. So where paracetamol will come into play is with really severe symptoms, you can actually end up with sinus headaches.
Yes.
So not just, congestion or runny nose or sneezing, but actually pain. And the pain is typically more focused around the eyes and the face. So above the eyes, behind the eyes is what patients will describe, sometimes even along the jawline. And I've had a few patients that presented to a dentist initially thinking they've got toothache because their jaws are so painful, and the dentist obviously examines and they're fine, and it turns out it's their maxillary sinuses that are just so inflamed at that point in time. So the management of that pain is probably where we would talk paracetamol. According to the World Health Organization, their pain ladder, they speak of the first step being the use of paracetamol.
Okay.
So for mild to moderate pain, this is completely safe and effective.
For the entire family?
And best part for the entire family. So from infancy to the elderly. There are even drops that are available now for our little people, and then obviously the tablets for the elderly. But yeah, a very effective and very safe medication if used appropriately.
And in terms of symptoms, does it lead to drowsiness?
It's not typically known to cause drowsiness.
Okay.
That said, we are all different. We all metabolize drugs differently. And some people are just a lot more sensitive to medication than others. So I'm not saying it can never cause drowsiness, but it's not commonly known to cause drowsiness.
Okay.
So helpful in that way too for driving and just working and getting on with our lives whilst we need to manage our health.
Thank you, doctor. Like you say, tune into your body and get to know where you are sensitive and whether something works for you or not. What are some of the tips and techniques that you can give to parents in particular that are navigating their kids probably suffering from hay fever or sinus, but thinking that it's a cold or flu?
So I think the first thing is there are a few over-the-counter medicines that are available. So when your child is symptomatic, don't ignore the symptoms. Unfortunately, it's when we ignore symptoms that then, if it was allergies, will then become infection. And with infection comes antibiotics, etc., etc., and a particularly ill child, which nobody, I think, needs in their household or in their lives. So when symptoms start, try to manage it with some over-the-counter medicines. And from a hay fever, sinus perspective, go to your pharmacist and you ask for an antihistamine, which you can readily get over-the-counter. A nasal spray. Again, also available over the counter. There are sprays for allergies, and then there are sprays for kind of more when we're ill, so decongestant sprays. But the nasal sprays for allergies are pretty effective when used regularly and in conjunction with an antihistamine.
Can paracetamol be used in conjunction with other medications? Is that safe to use?
Definitely, which is again another benefit of paracetamol, is that the drug interactions are very, very limited.
Okay.
They're very few, and therefore a very safe medication to use. And oftentimes you need something for pain. You know, when you're, like we said earlier, when symptoms are severe, it can cause terrible headaches. So a safe medication, yes, to use with those other typical kind of hay fever medicines.
Thanks, Dr. Merrington. Share this information with your fellow parent, friend, or family member, and should you have any further questions concerning your family's health, do contact your doctor.
Being a parent can be challenging, but stepping out is when things get real complicated. That's why new Panado Pediatric Syrup 5 ml sachets are here to make the job easier. They're really convenient to pack and easy to use, so you're always prepared for pain and fever, anytime, anywhere. Panado, a dose of care.